welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rickhead, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, let me introduce the lovely vicious vixen, Zoe Nightshade. Zoe, how are you doing tonight, hon?
Driving and road raging.
Well, I
And
hope
this
nobody.
is why, and that is why I want this woman in my wrestling company.
And that, of course, is from the Skeldon Realms, Lord Skeldon himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's shaking?
First of all, we're gonna go into the topics, but doesn't this sound weird, everybody? You've got Mandy Moore fired for being nude.
Mandy Rose, not Mandy Moore. Mandy Moore's from This Is Us.
Rose, Mandy Rose is nude. Vince McMahon coming back, and Riddle should have tried Pepsi instead of Coke. And in another episode of As the Stomach Turns.
And last and certainly not least, we have the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how we doing?
Oh, pretty good. I do want to say one thing. Viewer discretion is advised, but will be completely ignored.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's get on to the first topic of hand. Mandy Rose, also known as Mandy Sachs, rumors are saying that she's been released due to several racy videos and images that came to light on Twitter. Her Twitter account, which is not the WWE, but the Mandy Sachs, was even disabled because of some of these pictures. Mandy Rose has her own website, MandyRoseSachs.com, where she posted a lot of revealing photos and videos of her fans. And she even asked to join this website. You had to pay $48 for a month, and of course she wants tips, which is also extra, and even more money if you want what's called, I guess, private sessions, whatever that means. You know, use your own imagination. But the thing is, I actually looked up a lot of these pictures and the videos, and most of the pictures were just, they were racy, but I wouldn't say they were, pornographic or R-rated. Most of them are just pictures of her, just her ass, or walking around and just, kind of like laying on the bed and just shaking her ass. There was one video where she was at poolside at night, and apparently she dropped her towel. She went to grab her towel, and, you saw the whole side of her tit popped out. So there was little things like that. There was one photo of her where she popped out her tits, but you didn't see her face. But, Joe, I mean, come on, let's be honest. That was on a website, so it's not like somebody's pretending it's not her.
And you know what? What I don't understand is, and maybe it's something that she wanted to get found out because maybe she's making more money this way and she's not killing herself, getting herself banged up. Well, she's getting banged another way, but not the way in the ring. But I think, honestly, we're in a day and age where fan sites, fanfics, whatever sites, there's more almost porn. I call it that way. Almost porn without being porn, where you can go on there and just bear it all. And there will be people that buy into that, and they will buy to time just to watch her shake her ass and not do anything else. Then, if you want to see the exquisite stuff, you got to pay, subscribe and be a member and give her tips, and she'll do stuff. But I think we're in this age right now that people are more open to doing that. Now, I've seen some of the videos that she posted up, and yes, by the poolside, you can clearly see everything. And I don't understand. WWE releases her. This is the same company that had Vince McMahon, who groped women, who used to have pillow fights, who used to tell people like Athena, who was Ember Moon, to get more sexier. You encourage the behavior, and then when they actually do it, you fucking punishing them. So Rick, I don't get it from them now. And she can also claim his freedom of expression now. That's another thing too. It's artistic, so it's not so frowned upon, because in this day and age, everything is fucking art. Everybody's artistic in their mental state. So I don't get it from the WWE. She was a decent performer, not a great performer, but she was a good heel. She had the looks. you almost got the full package, but what you got is still good enough, and they released her.
Well, let
You
me tell
know,
you, she was down at NXT, and she was the NXT Women's Champion for over 400 days. I think it was 413. I'm not sure the exact number, but I know she was
410, 413, something like that.
Okay, but it was still she was like the third longest reigning NXT Women's Champion. I think the only other person behind her. Then the second one was Shayna Baszler. But
And first is Oscar, I do believe.
okay,
now
so
here's the funny thing, real quick, Rick. With the funny thing, I'm gonna make something clear to everybody, and I've seen a lot of these people post stuff like, oh, like Roman Reigns is the longest reigning like he's the greatest champion of all. No, he's not. You know, Mandy's the same thing. None of these people who are long-lasting champions are there because they're great workers or they're great talkers. Roman Reigns is neither. He's just good at improvising and very lackful of that. You know, if it wasn't for his family connections, he wouldn't be where he is right now. It's because they don't have anybody to fit in that role or to pass it over to somebody else. That's why you see these long reigns, because honestly, for Roman Reigns, who's there to really who can really represent the company? Not Riddle. He should be
well,
drinking
let's go on to
Pepsi.
that other. Well, let's stay on this one topic for right now, guys. But here's my question, all right? Now, there's still the rumor that we're not even sure this is 100% confirmed, because now there are other people saying that she posted a picture for Fightful, for Vengeance. Now, the only source this came from was from Ross Sapp from Fightful Select.
Yeah.
Now, Ross, doesn't seem to be the guy that just will, like, sling out, stuff that doesn't make sense, or like false rumors, at least on that level. Lance, what's your thoughts about this whole situation?
Well, I just remembered a picture that WWE published of Miss Rose, of her wearing nothing but 2 belts. So she might have grounds for wrongful termination.
Thank you very much. That's a very fair point. Zoe, you're the lady in the room. Let me ask you, do you think that the pictures or anything that Mandy Rose has done that's really caused to be fired?
Well, I don't think so, because I mean they take photos of these girls in skimpy bikinis. They do lingerie wear with them and everything like that. I mean, unless she was showing absolutely everything and nothing covering up, then I don't see why they would fire her if they're doing the exact same thing. If they're paying her for her photos to be taken that way by them.
Yeah, almost everything I saw, she would if she was topless, she was either standing from behind where she was just pretty much just flicking her ass, and then when she did spin around, she would definitely have her breast covered. So you didn't see anything. Like I said, with the exception of that one video where she was poolside, and it seemed to be an honest accident. She's like, shit, I dropped my, but.
I don't think that was an accident.
Whether it was or wasn't, you know what I mean? Come on.
One thing, Rick, we got a packed YouTube chat right now. We got Fat Boy presentations. James from the Big
James!
Jabroni!
He says extra tip for extra stuff. He says Terry 3G says, there we go, evening to all. And James said the site it's her personal business site.
Yep.
And like Terry says, as I said, had 3 women. WWE, and you know what? We didn't even touch upon this, Rick. WWE had 3 women or more pose in Playboy.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But of course, WWE got a cut of that.
Yeah, definitely. It was during the Vince McMahon era, but if this was Vince, he wouldn't have not fired Mandy. You'd probably encourage it more. So, and then James goes back and says Vince loves the pretty women like Eva Marie. Triple H is different. Yes, if he tried to like the pretty women, his pretty woman will beat the piss out of him.
True.
So,
So actually, you know what? Considering she is down in NXT, could this have been a Triple H call as opposed to Stephanie?
It very well could have.
Yeah.
So, well, again, I hope that Mandy wasn't fired. Again, this is still really kind of,
Well,
someone.
can I say that whenever I was on Facebook earlier, maybe about 4 hours ago, her official page shared the promo pic for Vengeance advertising her.
So again, there you go. It's kind of like, why was somebody who just got fired advertised for a company that just fired her?
But it's funny. You also have the situation with Bobby Lashley supposedly fired.
Yes,
So
I read about that rumor.
Could this be just something that WWE wanted to do some changes, and they just wanted to do flash in the pan, quick changes, and give these people some time off? And like for Bobby Lashley, they claim he got fired, but in quotation marks fired, but he could be going to take a break. Mandy for showing, like honestly, you could see in the poll the goods, but that could be her time to like, okay, look, I want a break, I want to get away. So that's her thing there. And for Riddle, well, he should have been drinking Pepsi.
Well, you know what? Let's get on. Let's talk about Matt Riddle for a second.
Do we have to?
Well, you know what? We gotta have to get this over. Unfortunately, many of the fans know that WWE tweeted that Matt Riddle would be out for 6 weeks due to a hand injury. This is due to Solo Sikoa, who attacked him last week or so. According to Body Slam Net, Riddle had failed one drug test leading up to SummerSlam. That's why his match was pulled back then. And just recently failed a second drug test. So apparently WWE has sent him to rehab. Now, on a completely side note, Matt Riddle was recently seen with a porn star, Misha Montana. So I don't know where that's going, but let's talk about the drug issue, guys. We all knew, like, joked around that Matt Riddle was a high guy and all stuff, but I didn't realize that he was somebody who clearly was using a drug of choice. Joe, what's your thoughts on Matt Riddle?
I've had to talk about his porn star girlfriend, but okay, we're up to the slipper slappy guy. I even if it's true, I don't get it with these people. You're in a dream job. All of us would like to have that dream job where you get paid super amount of money, you're treated like a rock star, you travel, and yet you fuck it up with something. This is something that WWE should be always on top of this and say, hey guys, every 3 months or every so often, hey, remember, no drugs, no drugs, no drugs. Obviously these, people like Riddle, they gave his little kind of push too quick, and next thing you know, he's like, whoa, let's go full let's go full coke on this. And obviously he's had this problem
Was
before.
it drug of choice cocaine, or?
It was probably cocaine. So
probably.
I think the other thing was marijuana too. Over in, let me see here, over in the chat room, Lashley fired because he showed his hoes on socials then. I don't know, maybe he did. Again, this is the problem. Why are these individuals showing off goods and their junks on social media? If it's for attention, if you weren't working for the company, fine. Like Tammy Sitch, Sonny, she was doing stuff even with Missy Hyatt in shower scenes, but that was when she was off the company. Oh. You're in a freaking big wrestling company. And just like Seth Rollins, and you saw Seth Rollins didn't really get anything.
Well, yeah, I saw part of it, and I didn't need to look any faster. I'm like, okay, yep, not a rumor. That was it.
They can't change Riddle.
He's the Lashley thing.
Go ahead.
They did that at the very end of Raw, and then early this morning, they walked that shit right back. So Lashley is not fired, not released, nothing.
Okay.
Also, they say here is Mandy has also had some personal issues she's been dealing with, death and other things, maybe in the family. And Riddle has been known to do drugs, which is true. He has been known. Thank you, James, and thanks, Terry.
Well, since, Joe, you wanted to talk about the other topic, guys, Misha Montana is a porn star, and she's a very popular porn star. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but unfortunately, I had to go look her up, and she's really not that good looking. And I'm sorry, but this woman is covered from head to toe with tattoos, and I mean everywhere. Use that to your imagination.
Oh,
So,
you lost me then.
yeah. Zoe. Actually, you know what? What's your thoughts about this whole thing with Matt Riddle being suspended, and then of course his new girlfriend?
I mean, is there a report out showing what drug he failed the drug test on?
No, there is no. This is all, of course, everybody's talking, saying it is, but it was he's in rehab.
Well, I would say that, very possibly this could be bad on WWE, because I know that they are so strict with their wellness policy that even if you use the wrong nose spray, then you can get suspended for it. But if he's ended up in rehab, it's something that needs to be taken care of. I think it's great that WWE is putting him in rehab if he has a problem. I don't have a problem with them putting him in rehab. It just sucks to see so many wrestlers going down the same slippery slope.
Absolutely. And, Lance, Zoe has a point, and even Joe made a point that, you're getting this huge, the biggest company, you're being successful, and then all of a sudden, for one reason or another, you turn to drugs.
Yeah, I mean, even back in his UFC days, he's been known, Matt Riddle smokes pot. It's just something he likes to do. Do I think that's which honestly, today, big damn whoop. But I ain't never heard of nobody going to rehab for pot. So I kind of think that the rumors of him doing a little bit of the booger sugar might be true, because I've heard of people going to rehab for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even, we know alcohol's not really an issue. I mean, for crying out, look at Jimmy Uso. He, drinks like crazy.
He just when it was funny, Rick, when you were talking about the subject of the girlfriend with all the tattoos, and you tossed it to Zoe. I thought your question was going to be, so Zoe, how many tattoos do you have and where?
Well, Joe, I was going to leave that question to you. I figured it came back around to you, so.
I have 0. As far as him being with the porn star, big freaking wolf, if they like each other, let them be together.
Exactly.
Well, my question is, do they meet each other in rehab?
Probably.
Probably, but that's enough on that.
Bro.
He put it like this. He met Lydia, the tattooed lady. That's who he did. So that's yes, it's an old song, but hey, that's who he met. And he was probably trying out different slippers, and she says, "Oh, I like him. He does slippers."
Which, if he's into chicks with tattoos, good for him.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that it was a porn star. I'm like, okay, and like I said, I mean, she is a bona fide porn star. I don't want to get on this too much, because it's just she has the fixed tits, tattoos everywhere, the whole 9 yards. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna say this. I have a friend of mine. She's into porn, and she said the business has changed a lot. It's still and I joke with her. I'm saying, well, what kind of script do you get? Ooh, don't put in that hole. But she says, no, it's more legitimate now, and there's regulations and all that. So it's, more of a situation that people, that's the thing now. So, you got the trashy looking porn stars like the one he picked, or you got the glamorous looking ones. So it's, pretty much, I mean, if that's what they hooked up on, maybe he also needed the time off, Mark, we got another guy. Mark on the chat room says, I saw Mandy Rose's video. It looked fine from the neck down. Absolutely. And Terry says, hey, WCW used porn stars back in the day in angles. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like WWE, let's not hide around that fact. Hell, this is the same company that had fedorettes.
Let's not forget WWE also had all those bra and panty matches back in the day.
Exactly. And even like
And
I
Jerry
said,
Lawler was
Paige,
happy.
she was a full-blown porn, and she got to come back to the company, of course, until
Yes.
Sasha Banks broke her neck for the second time, and that was pretty much it. But other than that, it was racy, but it was nothing bad, nothing that you wouldn't see on Skinamax or HBO. You know
what's funny? Terry just says something. He says, some of them and the wrestlers do stuff later on, which just brings to the point of China. Remember, China was a big thing in WWE. Then she did her backdoor to China with X-Pac, and you've seen X-Pac come back many times. So obviously WWE didn't have a problem. I think this is a more situation that they used that as an example for Mandy, and they gave her time off.
But I think in X-Pac's case, and I think that was more of he came back for spots. He wasn't signed on. I mean, he came on for the Hall of Fame stuff, highlights. But other than that, he wasn't really there.
Now, was Mandy Rose, is it her, or was it Liv Morgan, the one that was with Sonya the Hook Nose Deville that had the stalkers?
You're referring to Mandy Rose was solo, and then it was because she was the one who had the that thing with what's his face, the big fat guy.
Otis.
Otis, yes, thank you. Because he had a crush before she went, and once that kind of fizzled out, she went down to NXT.
But she did tag with Sonya Deville for a short period of time.
Oh, that's right too. Okay, I kept on.
Right, I thought they were like lesbian lovers.
Well, they tried to pitch a lesbian lover kind of storyline to the upper heads, and they rejected it.
Gee,
I wonder why.
All right, Rick, I think we can go along.
Well, since we're talking about all these other sexual scandals, let's talk about the biggest one yet. It looks like Vince McMahon is not exactly done with the WWE just yet. Well, it appears that he is trying to make a return. According to the Wall Street Journal, 5 months ago, McMahon was retired from the WWE after being hit with a $30 million sex scandal lawsuit. As of this point, McMahon is still facing up to 2 more lawsuits from different women who he sexually assaulted. Right now, it's not clear if the WWE even wants McMahon back, or if he would be able to be able to make a return. If they did want him back, many things would have. There are people who have actually liked. Sorry guys, I got jumbled up. Since McMahon left, everybody has liked the way the company has changed, all the changes. So my question to you, and I'm going to start with you, Lance: do people really want to see Vince McMahon back?
Hell no.
All right, short and quick answer. Zoe, would this be the right idea to bring Vince McMahon back?
Sorry. If you want the Muppets and everything to come back,
you are breaking up really bad, honey.
Does come out.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I'm losing you all.
Yeah, Zoe's on the road. So, all right, Joe, let me kick this over to you. Would it even be a smart idea to bring Vince McMahon back, even if he could come back?
Absolutely not. He's still got litigations going on. He's still got scandals, and then now with this Mandy Rose issue and all that and other situations, it's not the proper time. And let's face it, I think it's time. WWE has been in existence, which really turned the corner in 1984 to current. I think there's high time that Vince, just like what he did with his father, somebody needs to buy him out completely, keep him out there, put him in the Hall of Fame, and just say, okay, Grandpa, time to sit out there, sit outside, just like he did to his father. So that is what I am expecting. That's what they should not bring him back, because once you bring him back, there's nothing creative that Vince could do. Vince can do great things when he has the right players. Okay, you look at what you got right now, Usos, you've got Riddle, you've got all these freaking jabronis who couldn't really carry anything compared to the previous era of the Attitude Era and the 80s era. So that's something that you're not going to. His mindset is on these people who know how to do things. These guys and girls of today need to be held. They need to be their hands held and walk through everything because they don't know what they're doing. Over in the chat, um, we got Mark who says, "The hell with the dirt. Is anyone excited for MJF versus Tony Starks tonight? It is for the AEW Championship, and I guess the ring. I guess the MJF ring or
Yes,
whatever.
yep. It's
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
Dynamite Diamond Ring and title. So I'm
Right.
gonna tell you guys, unfortunately, as much as I like Stark and as much as push he's getting, I don't think he's gonna win.
No.
It's
Nope.
just MJF just got the title. I'd like to see him wrestle more often, but unfortunately, right now he's white hot. To take a title off somebody who's white hot makes zero sense. So I would be honestly, I would be baffled if Tony Khan booked that, where he would lose
He's
the
not
title.
going to lose
No.
anytime soon.
I agree. I
No.
absolutely have to agree with you. But going to Vince McMahon, back to Vince McMahon, I don't think he has the mindset anymore. He's 70 plus years old. You talk about Joe about the Attitude Era and the Golden Era, but that's when Vince was young, strong, ambitious, and ruthless.
And he had the right players. Let's a promoter. I am a promoter too, and if you don't have the right players for your team, then you're not going to the Super Bowl. You're not going to the World Series. So what he has right now, I would say, let's compare that. If the Attitude Era and the 80s era, the Glory Days era, I like to call it, they were your Super Bowl teams. You got the Hogans, you got the Machos, you got the Roddy Pipers, and so forth, Bobby Heenans and whatnot. Attitude Era. I'm not even going to go through all the roster because there's just too many. The Rock, Austin, Undertaker. That's right there. You went from that high to, let's say, high school basketball team. And that's not a knock against high school basketball teams. It's just like compared to the NBA or a high school football team or college football team compared to the NFL or minor league team to a baseball team. No, this is what you look at everybody. They can't talk on their own. They don't have the physiques, most of them. They don't have anybody, and like I said, anybody who goes on and say, well, Roman Reigns is the greatest champion of all time. No, he's the greatest champion for now because they don't have anybody else to really take it away from him. Because look at everybody. Riddle, of course not, He's there sipping his Cokes. He should try Flavor Aid or something else.
Well,
he's sipping it that way, Lance.
Well, and the only other person I think that possibly could take down Roman, and I know we're kind of veering off the subject of Vince McMahon, would be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I think, and he's looked jacked. I don't know if you guys saw any of his recent pictures, but it does not look like the Cody Rhodes when he first jumped into the WWE, or even when he was in AEW. He gained like 45, 50 pounds of pure rock.
And again, but look at what you're saying there. It does happen because you got to have the right players. If Cody makes that comeback and he builds it up and it's a Royal Rumble win and it's a WrestleMania moment, that's when you're going to see the title change. Right now, there's no one else that can literally take those belts. Same thing with the Usos. As much as I dislike the Usos and as much as I think, and it's nothing personal, I think it's their gimmick, how I think that they're the thugs and all that, and their DUIs, their activities outside. A normal person would have been arrested, thrown away for a couple of years, then come back. But they're protected because there's no one else. There's
no Tammy Sitch is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's no Tammy Sitch. Tammy, put it like this. I've talked to Tammy once, and she was protected at the time, and now that time is past and gone. She's like that hooker. Once you've used her up, you just toss her back and look for a new one.
Well, she's guarded now, but granted, that's a prison guard.
Well, Wanda's poking her with a toothbrush right now.
All right. Let's move along here, guys.
Yes, let's move on from
yeah, I
Wanda and the
know.
poking toothbrush.
According to reports, Sasha Banks, or also her real name Mercedes Varnado, will be attending for New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom. Right now, it's not clear as to what Banks will be doing at the event. However, reports are stating that she plans on pending more events for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Banks' WWE contract is set to expire at the end of this year, and the chances of her re-signing is highly unlikely at this point, guys. We all know that Banks and the WWE have been at odds. More of a financial issue as opposed to why they originally walked out back, I think, with May or June. Forgive me if I'm wrong on the date. So, I'm going to talk to you, Lance. Sasha Banks going to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Is that really something? Is it worth it?
Well, I mean, they don't quite offer WWE size money, but from shoot interviews I've heard from like AJ and other guys that have worked New Japan, it gets pretty close. And the way Wrestle Kingdom is shaping up, from what I've heard, this could be a pretty damn big show.
All right, Joe. I'm going to ask you a different question. Now that Sasha Banks, or I'm going to call her Mercedes, is now moving on to greener pastures, she kind of left Naomi in the dust.
And that's a good thing. Naomi needs to get back on track. She needs to, I hate to say it, she needs to embrace the Uce. Which Uce? I don't care a damn. The one that's not drunk. And she needs to be part of that tribal family so they can have a woman representative. So maybe with that, she can move forward. Now, Mercedes, Botchin Banks, whatever. I'm going to say this. I've seen New Japan wrestling, and that's shoot wrestling. She's going to get her ass handed to her unless they give her somebody meager who's not going to hurt her and all that. But I guarantee if she went up against a top quality women talent in New Japan, she's going to get her ass whipped, and she's going to go home with bruises. But remember, this is the same bitch who wants money. I'm surprised Wrestle Kingdom, and this is a door to open because she's not stupid. If this door opens from New Japan, guess what, Rick? That leads to several other companies like AEW, like Impact, like the NWA, whatever's left of it. She is not stupid. As much as we make fun of her and I say she's a slut, an idiot, and a piece of garbage, she's in business sense, at least she knows she's cocky as hell, egotistical. She wants the full money, and and here, our resident James, he says it's going to be Kairi Sane versus Banks, probably for the IWGP Women's title. I think that's the match that's set. And I don't think they're going to give that belt to her because she's unstable. And I mean unstable that she might leave and go and come back. But Rick, this is just I guess she's just doing this to open doors.
Yeah, and I read one report that Mercedes would not even consider going to AEW. Zoe, how you doing?
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Get her. Lancey Poo.
Well,
Okay.
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 Well, we were talking about Mercedes Fernando or Sasha Banks, who is going to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I wanted to talk to you about how, she said that she wouldn't go to AEW, and which obviously she's more interested in the money, which New Japan is probably about as close you can get to a payday as WWE.
Well, I hope she don't go to AEW because, like I said last time we talked about her, I'm not going to watch anything that she's a part of because I don't like the girl. Plain simple. I hope she goes to AEW and they shoot on her so bad, I would actually watch it just to see her get her butt kicked. She needs a rude awakening, honey. She ain't that good.
All right. Anybody else want to add on to this before we go to the next subject?
Lance, did you get in?
I was the first one.
Okay. See, every time we talk about Botchin Banks, my brain fries. I just I just hope they hit her hard enough that the paint in her hair falls out. Fuck, I wish they would say, remember what happened to Soraya Page? And they break her neck. That's
Yep.
how much I want to see this. In fact, while you were breaking up Bianca, whatever fucking Sasha Mercedes, Rolls Royce, whatever the fuck name she's gonna go by, please go over to AEW and break the other bitch's neck too. Because I hate Soraya too, and nothing personal. She's just the bottom of the barrel porn star who should never be allowed back in the ring. Who has a lousy voice, by the way. I'm back. God, why? Okay,
Yeah.
you're back. I'm front. Leave out the side door. Lance, the email.
That's Joe at SkullandDisarm.com.
I love you, buddy.
All right. And well, the last topic I want to do is talk about Final Battle. And I'm going to tell you guys, it was a pretty damn good pay-per-view for somebody who does not watch Ring of Honor. Unfortunately, but mostly because I can't find a TV show without paying, big money for it. So we're going to just do some of the quick highlights. Wheeler Yuta defeated Daniel Garcia for the Ring of Honor True Championship. Now, I don't know, Joe, if you've ever seen the True Championship match, is what that entails, but I'm going to tell you, I was really impressed by it because there's certain rules. You can't punch in the face. You only have each person has 3 rib breaks. And when you go outside the ring, you have 20 seconds as opposed to 10.
Yes, it basically, and let's face it, that you can break those rules. Chris Jericho has done it when he was champion.
He's not a true. No, he wasn't a true champion. He's a Ring of Honor champion.
I know, but you can easily break those rules when the referee's not looking, and who's going to tell? But in this case, this was a phenomenal match. Daniel Garcia is proving he can hang with Wheeler
Yuta.
That's why they put these complicated names. You call yourself Kenta Kabashi, for God's sakes, like a real true Asian. Anyway, but in this case, these two put on the clinic. They did a hell of a great match. And I've got to say, Rick, that either one can keep going. I believe these two guys, if Garcia puts on better weight, like another 50 pounds, tone it up muscles, he can really be the next breakout star if he goes in there. Yuta has already proven himself. He needs to fix his eyes. He's a little crooked there. But once he has to clearly see the good path, he's going to be the man who's going to dominate a lot in professional wrestling.
All right. Lance, I know you watched Final Battle. What was your thoughts about the Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia match?
I dug the kind of the change of format. And also, this is just something I've noticed throughout the entire show. You can tell the people that hadn't really worked ROH before, because they weren't used to the 20 count rule. They always try to get in before 10.
Yeah. I kind of noticed that. That was interesting you pointed that out. Zoe, I wasn't sure if you watched Final Battle at all.
I did not get to watch it, but personally, I like the 20 count rule, honestly, because it gives you more time to get the story going. It gives the heels more time to be heels. That's just my opinion.
All right. So we're going to move on to where Claudio Castagnoli defeated Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. This was a decent match, and the funny thing about the way that Claudio won the match is he put Jericho in a large spin. He spun him around for like 20 plus times, where Jericho finally tapped out. Joe, who taps out to a spin? A giant to a spin.
Hell, anybody that's in a position that you're probably ate too much lunch or something,
or somebody doesn't like wild rides.
Yeah. Well, I think the situation here is, I think they want to make him look credible. And let's face it, Jericho, he's an awesome talent, doesn't need that title. He's already proven himself multiple times over. This was just another thing just to say, okay, you know what? Boom. He did it. He moved on. Bam. So I'm sure tonight they'll address him and Garcia losing titles. But again, great match. These guys are trying so much to make the Ring of Honor product. This is AEW's version of NXT. So they're definitely trying their best to make this company work. And I'm glad. We always talked about, Rick, what would have happened if Vince would have opened his mind and just kept WCW as a separate entity, and how that could have worked. I'm sure they probably would have thought about that now and say, but that's why they have NXT now. So it is a great idea, to have Ring of Honor and have credible champions in there. Yuta's a great pure champion. Cesaro, Castiello, whatever he wants to call himself, he is a great world champion and still has the go. So he's another guy that's going to keep this company moving.
All right. Lance, I want to put this over to you. Again, Jericho tapping out to a giant swing. I thought that was the most silliest ending I've seen in many matches.
Yeah. I didn't, especially because Claudio has a submission move.
Exactly. So for him to tap out, that's more of just a wear down move. That's like saying, somebody tapped out getting a body slam.
Unless Jericho was about to puke, because he did spin for, I think they said for 33 seconds.
Was it 30? I know it was like 20 plus rotations. I don't know for how many seconds. I didn't actually do the seconds.
Well, if you ever been on a merry-go-round going really fast and you just had lunch, you know how that feeling is.
Well, I have. I've actually been there, and I didn't pick my guts. I guess Jericho's older, so. But you know what?
A bit of bubbly.
But you know what, Rick? Before you pass it on, there is also the thing of making Claudio look good and strong, because now we're so used to seeing him put the submission hold. Hey, now you can actually lose to the Cesaro swing, or Claudio swing, or whatever the fuck he wants to call it now. It is a possibility now, and that's a good thing. Even if he gets them dizzy enough that he can pin them, it's still a valuable tool now to say, okay, now you don't have to worry about his submission. Now you got to worry about the swing.
All right, that's actually another fair point. Athena defeated Mercedes Martinez for the Women's Ring of Honor Championship. This was an alright match. I wouldn't say it was great. I wouldn't say it was horrible, but it was kind of the run-of-the-mill. But you know what, Joe? At least Athena finally got her first world championship.
Yeah, you know what? And Mercedes Martinez is a very great worker. She's probably going to be called up to AEW. Or maybe she's leaving the company. I don't know. I doubt it. But you know what? It's about time they move some of these people into better roles. And Athena's been that type of character that she's never fully gotten a real good amount of time as a champion, or as given a break entirely. So in this case, it's good to see someone like that. Maybe she could be the face of Ring of Honor. And what I see slowly is that they're separating the roster. They're putting people to pretty much be Ring of Honor. I hope that they continue doing that and separating people off of Ring of Honor and AEW TV, because there's still a lot of people in AEW that need that push. These Ring of Honor guys need to stay on a product, and and Tony Khan announced what he has for that product that he's building.
All right. Zoe, again, I know you didn't see Ring of Honor, but Athena, also known as Ember Moon, finally got a world championship, and she was, this is something I think she's justly deserved.
Oh, it's about time. I have been waiting for this girl to get a championship.
All right. Lance, I know how much of a fan you are of Ember Moon, so give us your thoughts.
Well, both ladies did a very good job, but there's just one thing that bothered me from the start of the match. Now, I know this was representing Ember or Athena having the third eye, but the eye she wore reminded me of one of those googly eyes you had when you were a kid. And I
kind of
start doing that thing.
Hey! Just because she beat up Cookie Monster and took his eye,
Cookie.
Doesn't mean anything. Jane says Athena has been NXT Women's Champion.
True. Okay, but that was more of a development. I think Ring of Honor, although it's an Indies, it's still a world champion. But okay, fine. We can say it's his second title. But I really
Right.
thought I was hoping that she would win an AEW World Championship because she never got that shot in WWE, no matter how hard or how time she worked in the main roster. So
Here, Rick, here's something else too. From Mark, he says, does the panel think it's a good idea to have a 2-hour Ring of Honor program on YouTube?
well, I'm going to tell you this. In my personal opinion, I very rarely watch YouTube shows on my computer screen. I'd rather watch it on TV. I watch AEW Dark, but I kind of fast forward through some of it. And I think honestly, what Ring of Honor truly needs is a TV deal, even if it's just for an hour. I think it would help that brand tremendously. So we're gonna move on to this is probably the best of the match, at least I think, is the Briscoes won the Ring of Honor tag titles from FTR in a bloody dual dog collar match. And when I say bloody, guys, I mean blood was all over the place. I believe Tony Schiavone said during the match that Dax Harwood lost a tooth during the match. I think it was early in the match, but by the time it was done, I mean, this was like an all-out blood war fight. So I just found it funny, Joe, your thoughts on this match?
Well, it was a great damn match. Now, I'm not big fans of the Briscoes. They look like two meth heads, but you cannot deny their skills. They are incredible, incredible talent. And this match really cemented not only the Briscoes, but it helped the Ring of Honor tag team titles. Because now MJF, excuse me, FTR has so many titles that they needed to lose them. Remember, Kenny Omega had multiple titles, and eventually he was going to lose them. So I think this is a smart way of saying, okay, you know what? Here's this. We're taking these titles off you to once again build up an original Ring of Honor tag team. So the Briscoes, well deserved. This match was crazy from the get-go. And these guys, no matter what, they know how to get in there. They know how to work. They know how to hardcore. They know how to do everything. It was a good change to see. Now, there's rumor going around that maybe this might be the FTR's last match in AEW/Ring of Honor. They're going to maybe take a break. Who knows? We don't know. Terry says, I was saying a bit ago, Khan is in a position to finally put various promotions up with good people and are able to get championships, like with Athena just now. Now he needs to keep that up. Well, he needs to separate the roster like NXT was and the how Raw and SmackDown was. So we'll see how well that goes. And as for you, Mark, I think a 1-hour Ring of Honor program on YouTube will help them get lower talent up, like AEW does with Dark and Elevation. How they grab indie talent, elevate them. With that, I think that's much better.
Yeah, but again, like I said, personally, I mean, you watch AEW in Dark, and they only get like 400,000 or 500,000 views. Where Dynamite, they're getting far more. They're getting twice as much, even more than what I think what Rampage is getting. I haven't checked the numbers recently.
But you got to remember, there's more elite players on those. NXT Dark and Elevation are just you could say the indie tryouts. They bring in various indie guys and girls who, they're good wrestlers out there. They just don't get noticed. So this is kind of their way of saying, I stepped into an AEW ring. I performed. I did this. In our upcoming show, I do have like 3 AEW Dark people, and they are fucking phenomenal in the ring. So that kind of a feather in their cap that they got to do this and gives them a little bit of notoriety. I got them in, and that gives my company notoriety without paying the humongous fees. So it works both ways.
All right, Lance, did you want to chime in about the Briscoes?
One, I'm a big fan of them boys. And this match, they beat the hell out of each other, both FTR and the Briscoes. It, dare I say, it reminded me of Valentine Piper in the first dog collar match.
Yeah,
Oh
actually,
wow,
yeah, I can
wow.
definitely say, but I mean, I don't know, Joe. I mean, but you got four guys that tied to dog collars, and it was just hell. I mean, there was blood everywhere, as I said before. That just it was like literally a fight. Probably one of the most brutal fights matches I've seen in quite some time, Joe.
Oh hell, and like Lance said, he kicked it right there. One of the most brutal dog collar matches. There has been dog collar matches since, but Piper and Valentine are that was these guys proved that they can hang on that level. As for bloody battles, I don't think I've seen that much blood since Stone Cold Steve Austin passed out to Bret Hart. So this was literally a very damn good match. So these guys really went out to prove themselves, and I would like to hear what Zoe thinks about this.
I didn't get to watch it.
No, but I mean about the Briscoes and dog collar matches in general.
um, yeah, I really can't say because I haven't seen them in dog collar matches.
Yeah, and like I said, if I had not had somebody else like watch down with me, I probably wouldn't have seen it either. But you know what? Again, nevertheless, I was lucky to see the show. Um, so guys, I think we're gonna wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. I want to thank James for coming in. We haven't seen James in a while. Terry3G, Mark, and if I'd missed anybody else in the chat room, thank you so much for joining us. I also want to give a quick shout out to our good friends, Mr. and Mrs. A, over at PC Games and More. You can find them on Facebook, where they cover a lot of old retro games. They do trivia, give out gifts, and much, much more. Again, just do the hashtag BC Games and More. I'm your host, Hardcore Rick Head, and I'm over at the HWR chat room in the group section, where we cover the latest news, rumors. I will be covering Dynamite tonight, and much more. Joe, you're over at Skeleton Realms. What's going on over there?
Oh, wow. You guys can check me out. Just do the hashtag Scoldrels Realm. I just did a stream last night where it shows about, I was basically talking about multi-game cartridges from various consoles, from the Nintendo to the Super Nintendo to the Sega Genesis to the N64, and everybody got to see me play. It was a great fun for everybody to check that stream out. I do games from yesterday, today, retro to current, from PC to console, so check me out. Now you got me saying it. It's hashtag Scoldrels Realm. Definitely check me out. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and I'm also on Instagram and on Twitter at Scoldrels. So make sure you check it out. And if you want T-shirts, not only of me, of the crew here, go to ScoldrelsRealm.live, and you can still get the Zoe's, the Lance, and the Rick shirts. So make sure you check it out.
All right, Zoe. You're what do you got going on? I know you got some wrestling events coming up.
I do. On December 30th, we are having another show at Knox Central High School. All the proceeds will go to the Knox Central Wrestling Club. Make sure to come down and see it. It's December the 30th. It'll be at Knox Central High School. Every match will be in a cage. Also, I just want to say that it is Christmas time. Keep in mind that a lot of children in your area may go without as far as Christmas presents. So if you know of a fire department or a store or even a police post that's doing Toys for Tots, please, please, please give up even $5 for a little gift just to make a kid's Christmas.
Absolutely. Lance, you're over at Lance Moss TV. I know last night you had your coffee and friends. What do you got going on over there?
Well, Redneck Gourmet's kind of on a when I can do it thing right now because, well, as y'all know, the price of food right now is stupid. But yeah, every Tuesday night we go live on Lance Moss TV and Friends. We never know who's going to show up, and well, it's at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern, and yeah, come check us out.
And there you have it. So for the Hardcore Crew, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.
By the way, Lance. By the way, Lance. James says you're still a jabroni.
Oh, he's going to pay for that one.
Good night, guys.
Good night.